Hey, District 2 sports fans, it's Gregory here, and I want to tell you about our new sponsorship here. If you're looking to make your business stand out, you've got to check out Chaos Cartel Company. They specialize in custom shirts, hats, tumblers, banners, and so much more. And the best part, there's no minimum order, and their pricing is amazing. I should know because we have a few shirts from them. Whether you're a small business or just looking to get some cool merch, Chaos Cartel Company is here to help. They love working with other businesses to bring your brand to life. If you want to get started, give them a call at 434 489 6123 or shoot them an email at chaoscartel1, and that's the number one, at gmail.com. Chaos Cartel Company, making your business look good, one custom piece at a time.
You are now listening to the District 2 Sports Podcast, available on all your favorite music apps. Like and subscribe.
Folks, welcome back to the District 2 Sports Podcast, and what a treat we have for you tonight. We are joined by not only one of the best players in D3 basketball, but one of the best players in all of this entire country. I wish I saw him in a little bit of a light blue color down in Chapel Hill, but we'll go ahead and say this, and I don't know if we've even discussed this yet before we got on. Adam Brazel is with us tonight. Okay, I was waiting for the thumbs up because, we've been calling you Adam Brazil since day one. And then I watched Dave Walls one night on SCT 13, and he was giving y'all's highlights at a home game on a Friday night. And I heard him say Brazel, and I said, oh my God, we have butchered his name. So I deeply apologize, and we just welcome you to the show. And we can't thank you for taking your time out for giving us a few moments.
All good, no hard feelings. Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, before your internet went out, we were talking about the whole Brazil versus Brazil, and he said he even got called a different name the other week at Roanoke. So I mean, he still gets it in his fifth year. So I. But yeah, Adam, like we were talking about before we got started, I want to talk about your high school career, and we do a lot of prospect recruiting videos and kind of talk about kids getting recruited to the next level. But if you could talk about your high school days there at Davidson Day, I know you had a pretty good career there, and then kind of talk about the recruiting process, like as far as like getting letters and taking visits and how that went for you.
Yeah, so I went to Lake Norman High School my freshman and sophomore year, and then I went to Davidson Day my junior and senior year, which isn't far apart, maybe 15 minutes. But I played under Coach Ron Johnson at Davidson Day, who's a well-known coach in North Carolina, really, really good coach. And he instilled some very important values in me that maybe weren't drilled in completely. I think, not being afraid to be a leader was one of those things. He pushed me um, to really step outside of my comfort zone. He pushed me in the weight room. Um, he pushed me like as a vocal leader in the community as well. So I was president of like student body president my senior year. Got involved in like other things around campus, and yeah, he just instilled like a different work ethic in me. Like being on time and prepared meant a whole different thing under Coach Johnson, where we would have 5:30 or 5:45 a.m. practices before school. And Jackson Threadgill and I, the other captain at the time, who now plays at App State, we would like basically race there to see who could get there first. And so, we'd be getting in there at 5 a.m. or 4:40 a.m. just to work out, just to be the first ones there. So my high school career wasn't necessarily like statistically glorious. I don't think I even averaged like double figures any of my years of high school. I think I averaged right around 7 or 8 points a game with like 5 assists or something. I couldn't even tell you that. I don't really check the stats. So I just know we were winning games. We went 20-5 my junior year, which was a big improvement from the previous season. And then my senior year, we went 30-1 and won the state championship. And we had, a really, really good squad. It was, myself at the 1, Will Coble from Randolph-Macon, now plays at App State at the 2. We had Bryce Baker at the 3, who plays at Winthrop. We had Jackson Threadgill kind of like as our other forward, who went 4 years at Charlotte, 1 year now at App State, and then CJ Huntley, who's done 5 years at App State. So we had a lot of guys who were college players before they were college players, right? So we were a very dedicated group, very together group. And we also had a couple guys off the bench, Luke Robinson, Mark Brunig, Niles Howard, Joel Bockham, some really good guys that were really committed to just being a team. And so it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. We were really good friends hanging out on and off the court. And I think Coach Johnson did a really good job of like drilling in the idea that it didn't matter how many points you scored as long as like we won the game. The game's more about defense than it is offense. Um, all those kinds of things. And I think that's what led to our success. And yeah, it was a great time. Really enjoyed my time at Davidson Day.
When did you start getting like looks for college? Was that like junior year, or was it like kind of senior year, like going to summer, or kind of before that senior year?
Yeah, it was like junior just to senior year, summer, I think mostly. I had some like preferred walk-on opportunities at a couple places like UNC Greensboro with Wes Miller and High Point
Wow.
and UNC Charlotte, but more so I was probably going to play the Division 3 level, and I didn't really understand what that would look or feel like at the time. Grow up in North Carolina, I didn't really hear a lot about D3, whereas I think in Virginia, D3 is pretty common.
Hmm.
And especially like up in the Midwest or even the Northeast United States, it's like D3 is like, it's not frowned upon at all. It's like, it's a good thing if you can go play Division 3 basketball. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I don't think I had that mentality in high school, and I wish I would have. I wish I'd have been able to go back and been like, man, going D3 it's an honor. It's a privilege. You get to play basketball at the next level. It's really, really good basketball. And so I think I got some letters or some texts from coaches more like that summer at like AAU events and stuff. And, you know, Coach Kimbrough and Coach Gibson were the two coaches from Hampden-Sydney that reached out to me a ton, and I formed good relationships with them. Coach Gibson actually drove all the way down from Hampden-Sydney to Davidson Day, which is about 3.5 hours, just to watch me and my team lift weights in the fall before the season. And I think he just wanted to know what kind of teammate I was, what kind of worker I was. And then we went out to eat afterwards, just him and I, and just talked about everything other than basketball. And forming that relationship made it pretty clear to me that I think it would matter more about who is going to be there wherever I'm going, as opposed to like where I'm actually going. And I'd never heard of Farmville, Virginia, or Hampden-Sydney before. Before I went to the GID camp, the elite camp that we hold every summer. Had a great time at that camp and really just connected with the coaches on like a new level. And the players welcomed me in. I remember Ryan Clements was a incoming freshman at the time, and he just really welcomed me in. And um, yeah, I remember that a lot. And uh, making the decision to play Division 3 basketball wasn't really something I thought about a lot. It wasn't like, oh, let me weigh my options, D1, D2, D3. It was like, which place is the best fit for me? And with Hampden-Sydney's commitment to, forming good men and good citizens, and like me being able to become the best version of myself, that was just a really attractive thing. And then the alumni network here, the community of brothers, and like I already mentioned, the coaching staff. So those are my main draws.
You're pretty close to Charlotte, right? Where you played high school at?
Yeah, yeah, it's about 30 minutes north of Charlotte.
Is there a certain player that you played against or with that he was the best talent you played against?
Um, my my senior year, we played against Jaden Bradley, who's at Arizona now. He was really good. I remember thinking he was like LeBron out there, and he was only a sophomore. So it just felt like he had such control of the game. We ended up beating them, but he was really good. I remember Pat Williams. I think he plays for the Bulls now.
Wow.
Fourth pick in the draft. He was at West Charlotte when I was at Lake Norman, and we actually split games with them in the regular season. But I remember he almost dunked on me so bad. Thank God he missed. And then I think one more guy that stands out is probably Tristan Maxwell from North Mech. He was just an absolute bucket getter. Irrational confidence, son of Vernon Maxwell, Mad Max. So those are three guys that stick out to me.
Nice. And so you got the Hampton Sydney. Your first year there, I mean, is that, or I guess senior going to college, that's when kind of COVID kind of derailed a lot of stuff. What was that like for you during that time?
Yeah, it was an interesting time. So like, COVID hit around March and kind of shook up everybody's world. And that following spring and summer was interesting. It was a time for me to like reevaluate, what I need to improve on as a basketball player. And I spent most of my summer in the weight room with a good friend who actually doesn't even play basketball, but just knows a lot about weight training. And um, he has a personal trainer who helped me out a lot too. And so I spent a lot of my summer in this gym that was like almost completely empty. And that's why we were able to do it, is because it was just a few of us in there. But I spent a lot of my time playing hoops outside with my friends too. We'd always be talking about like which church court can we go to, or like all the gyms were closed. I remember a lot of church courts we went to and played fives or threes or even just ones, and it was a fun time. Uh, but definitely the commitment to transform my body was important over COVID.
Adam, I'm going to jump in real quick. I hope my connection will last a few moments here. But listen, I heard you mention UNCG and some other D1 schools. Just curiosity. I mean, when you get to Hampden-Sydney, you play a year, you play 2 years. Do you ever did you ever sit there and talk to yourself and go, maybe I'm a little bit better than D3. Maybe I should start, finding another school on another level. Did that ever transpire? Did you ever, have to talk yourself out of something like that, or, anything like that take place?
Honestly, no. Definitely not something I ever seriously considered. I think, when I got to Hampton-Sydney my freshman year, I kind of thought to myself, or like after my freshman year ended and the COVID season, we played 5 games, 6 games. I remember thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to get an extra year of eligibility. So like, let me just go ahead and use that here. And so I told myself, it was always my dad's plan and my plan. Like I told my dad early on, I was like, Dad, I want to stay 5 years here. And he was like, all right, whatever you want to do. And so from there, I just kind of like decided, and I didn't make it like an official decision until my junior year, but I kind of knew what I wanted to do all along, that I wanted to do all 5 years here. I think the only time, I mean, I really can't even say that there was a time that I seriously considered it. I think like maybe in the back of my mind, I always wanted to play at Davidson College. That was like my dream school growing up. But just like seeing how things played out at Hampton-Sydney and my relationship with the community and my teammates and my coaches, like I don't think I'd ever want to leave. It pains me that I have to leave even after 5.
What's it like seeing like a teammate of yours go to the D1 level though, when he transfers through the portal?
It was pretty cool. He was Davidson Hubbard had an interesting like commitment process where he had basically thrown his name in the portal, and he was like, you know what, like I want to go play basketball for free to like basically get my degree and kind of reward my parents for everything they've done. It's kind of his mentality, I think. And he wanted to go somewhere close to home, which home for him is Charlotte as well. Um, and if you know Davidson, you know that he didn't go close to home. He went to Baylor, but it kind of happened out of nowhere. He had kind of told himself that he was going to try to play professionally, and because nobody really seriously reached out that he was interested in, da da da. And then like late July, Scott Drew hits up Coach Kimbrough and is like, "Can Davidson talk?" And Coach Kimbrough's like, "About what?" And so he puts him on the phone and he's like, "Hey man, I want to offer you a full scholarship." After, I mean, they talked a little bit, but they talked about that. And Davidson just being the guy he is, low maintenance, gym rat, great teammate, extremely hard worker, elevates those around him, is just like the exact guy that you'd want on your team, regardless of level, because he's a winner, because he's going to bring out the best of everybody, because he's never going to complain. So like, yeah, think about it. He's not getting serious minutes at Baylor, but that's okay. Like he's still impacting the team, and he knows that. And it's one less thing that the coaches have to worry about. They don't have to worry about, oh man, is he gonna complain about playing time? Is he gonna be a pain in my butt? Is he gonna transfer out? Is he telling the other guys they deserve this or that? Like no, Davidson's just putting his head down and going to work every day. So there's literally nothing you can lose by taking a chance on a guy like him.
Is there any?
Adam, I need some.
Oh, go
Oh, I'm
ahead.
sorry, Greg. I was gonna say I need some dirt. I need some dirt on Kimbrough right now. I mean, y'all look like y'all can pass for brothers for one thing, and the other thing is he that good? Because he told us flat out that if the mythical Odak coaches tournament, one-on-one tournament, he wins it hands down. So we got a little bit of a throwback yesterday because we interviewed Coach was it Munchko, Gregory, and from God, I can't even remember
Bridgewater.
where's Bridgewater, yeah. And Munchko says he could throw his 6'5" frame around and he would wear Coach Kimbrough out. So I just wanted to, I was hoping Kimbrough was coming on tonight because I wanted to throw him the new news that I got yesterday. So, but anyway, no, in all seriousness, I know y'all got an important game coming up this weekend, and in all essence, it'll be your last, next to last home game, at Hampden-Sydney. So what kind of relationship has it been with him?
Well, first of all, Coach Kimbrough is an excellent one-on-one player. We've played one-on-one in my past, and he won the first 4 games, and then I won the next 4. So this is like one time that we're playing, and so it's 4-4, and then he gets a phone call, and he has to go pick up the kids or something, and so we'll always have that suspense, and I think both of us are fine with it. I really do. I don't think we'll ever finish that game because it's kind of like legendary, but it was like, him being smart and physical was able to kind of beat me for the first few games, but then me being in like better conditioning and, was able to kind of squeak out the next few, and they were all close too. It was a battle, and then he had to leave, and I was like, oh man, I think he's ducking. But yeah, me and Coach Kimbrough, we have a great relationship. I have frequently been mistaken for being like, or I don't know about mistaken, but jokingly told that I'm like his son or like daddy ball or something like that, which he's just like, he's not my dad. So like, it's not daddy ball, but yeah, we have a great relationship. I trust him with, anything he wants to do. If he came out tomorrow and said, AB, I want to bring you off the bench, like I would be like, all right, if you think that's what will help us win, then let's do it. At this point, it's like, I think the trust we have in each other is pretty crazy too. Cause he texted me today and said like, what do you think would be best for the team today? And I said, Coach, I think it'd be best if we did that 2v2 into 1v1 drill. It's this defensive shell rep drill. And then I said, and then we could do like shell, and then we go right into get stops, which is one of our 5v5 segments up and down. And I was like, I think that'd be a great practice for us. And I go into practice today and look at the practice plan, and the practice plan is those 3 things exactly, and that's it. And I just thought that was so funny. I was like, man, he really does trust me. And of course I trust him as well. And there's a lot of love. There's a lot of pain that we've endured together. And I was actually reflecting back this morning on kind of just like the lack of respect or the disrespect that he and I received, particularly my freshman and sophomore year. So his like first 3 years as a head coach in Hampden-Sydney, he was 14-14. Then in my freshman year, we were 2-4, and then we went 14-11, 8-8 in the ODAC. And so it's like, we're this team that, walks into the opposing arena or opposing gym, and nobody takes us seriously. Nobody's like, oh man, like that's Hampden-Sydney. They're like, oh, here comes a dub. Like we're going to get a dub today. And look at that little dude. Like that's their best player. Okay. Yeah. Or like, that's their starting point guard. We're going to eat him up. Look how small he is. And, like there's all this stuff. Like we went through that together, and sometimes we still get that, but it doesn't matter anymore. And he told me my freshman year that we have to go out and take respect. It's not just given. And the only way you can take respect is by beating somebody. And so I think we both took that to heart and have kind of adopted that mantra over the last few years of, just kind of like that underdog mentality. Even if we were ranked number 1 for 10 weeks last year and we've been top 10 the whole year this year, like we're still underdogs at heart because that's what we were when we came in here. And I don't think that'll ever change.
Well, I know he has classified me as his best friend this year. I'm sure he talks about me all the time, so I'm just glad he does. And in all seriousness, we went to the game, the Hampden-Sydney Randolph-Macon game at Hampden-Sydney. So we were there, and we didn't exactly have press credentials for the field. So me being me, I just walked out there and just, made myself at home. Devin and Gregory didn't quite make it onto the field, but they started walking over at halftime, and all of a sudden Gregory knows. He said, hey, there's Coach Kimbrough. So I think Chad's not the athletic director. I forgot what what is that? The athletic director? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was the one trying to remove us from the field. So Kimbrough was there talking to him, and he looks at him. He goes, "Hey, do you know these three guys?" And they go, and Caleb winds up looking at him. He goes, "Yeah, dude, they are legit." So I just looked at him. Then I said, "Hey, did we just become best friends?" And he said yes, and I said yes. So just always remember that.
Will do. That's real.
Okay, Adam, going back to your seasons there. So you, like you said, you went 14 and 11. I think was it your freshman or sophomore year? Um, yeah, I think you made it like the first round of the ODAC. Second year, you win 22 games, make it to the actual NCAA tournament, and then just last year, you're playing for a national championship. I think you won 31 games. So just kind of talk about the maturation there and what happened during those years to get you to that level.
Yeah, I mean, it was a process for sure, and it was something that seemed uncertain at times. Like even coming off my sophomore season, where we went 14 and 11, we returned like all five starters and like five guys off the bench. We felt like we were really going to be legit my junior year, which is the 22-23 season. And we go out and we lose three of our first five games. We start the season 2-3, going to Thanksgiving break, getting absolutely smoked by Mary Washington. And so we're like, man, are we actually turning the corner, or are we just gonna like be this average mediocre team? Like that's what we're thinking over Thanksgiving break. Then we come back from Thanksgiving break, and I think we win 17 out of our next 18, and like really turn things around. Um, so that was like beautiful to see, but it wasn't always this thing where it was like linear. It didn't always feel like it was, going the right direction. I feel like one of the biggest keys for us was just like this commitment to our culture, and then like constant communication from there. And so, we graduated eight seniors last year, and so anyone with two eyes and a brain could have told you that, or could have guessed, right, that like this team from Hampden-Sydney this year, where the only player they return in their starting lineup is me, is like, oh, they're not going to be that good. They got to bring in a bunch of guys. They won't be half the team they were last year. And then, you come to see that the culture that was built by the guys that left, it's trickled down, and they see it and they adapt to it. And it might take some time, but we've hit a stride. And this season, I think more than anything, has been a really excellent example of like, even when you lose Davidson Hubbard and Ryan Clements and Chase Turner and Miles Harris and DJ Wright and like Alex Elliott, Josiah Hardy, you can lose tons of guys that are 1,000-point scorers, all ODAC caliber guys. But as long as the culture stays in place, then it's like you have an opportunity to do something special. So like even after I leave, I'm not worried about the team at all. They should be better next year. It's like that's the expectation.
Well,
I want
Adam,
to talk about. Oh, go ahead, Evan.
you talked a little bit earlier about when you're in high school, maybe not the best statistic, for your senior year, not the best statistically sound season or whatnot, averaging like single digit in points. But, you look now and you're one of the most prolific scorers in the ODAC, just looking at this season, 34, 30, 31, 28, 29, just putting up monster numbers. As far as like your scoring ability, I mean, was that something that you had inside of you the whole time, or is that something you really had to work on throughout your career to get to this point?
Probably a little bit of both. I think I probably always had that within me. And Coach Gibby and Coach Gibson and Coach Kimbrough were always pushing me to shoot the ball more. They would always tell me I pump fake too much and that I like pass up too many shots. And they would bring me in the office after games, my freshman, sophomore, and even sometimes my junior year, and tell me like that it's unacceptable that I don't shoot this, and that I have to be like, in order for me to be selfless, I actually have to be more selfish. Like if I really care about what's best for the team, I have to shoot more. And so they drilled that into me for a few years. And I think even when I was in high school though, like just I played alongside, prolific shooters and scorers like CJ and Jackson and Will and Bryce. And so like it wasn't my role to score. Like if I needed to score, I could. But I mean my career high in high school was 16. So like I could score like a little bit in high school. But if I were to play at, another high school that didn't have as many talented guys as Davidson Day, I could have probably averaged 15 or 20 if that was my goal, But I think the important thing is that you're willing to do what it takes to fulfill your role to get the most out of the team, right? So like, what can you do that's best for the team? And I think going into this year, knowing that we had lost a lot of our scoring, I knew that I would probably have to score the ball a little more, and so I worked on particularly like my post game and my mid range game over the summer a lot. Worked on, as crazy as it sounds, played like a lot of one on one and tried to figure out like ways to draw fouls. And so like that's, I think I shot 60 free throws last year. I'm already at like 110 this year. So free throws are a great way to score, and like you don't have to flop to get there, but definitely have to attack more. And I think I've attacked more this year and been more aggressive. So those are all things that are intentional and definitely things that I've worked at over the years.
Yeah, Adam, that would be 95 for 110.
Oh, really? 110?
Yeah.
Wow.
86.4%. I just wanted to make sure you knew that.
Not bad. That should probably be better, though, to be honest.
Listen, I'm gonna ask a question, and it's a little facetious and a little tongue in cheek, but I look back at 22, I look back at 23, and I look back at 24. Technically, you have lost to the eventual national champion each year. I know you played Macon in the regular season / tournament in 22. They go on and win the national championship. I think you lose in like the quarterfinals of the region to CNU in 23, and then last year in the finals to Trine. So I guess my question is this: is 25 national championship or bust for Adam Brazel? I mean, is that the way this season is, or is that the outlook for this season, or what is that outlook?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't really think about it like that, but I mean, it's definitely going to be disappointing if you don't win your last game, but I think the goal with this team and for every team is just like to get the most out of this team. That's what we always say. And so we got to figure out what does that look like. And I think, we're a top 10 team in the country. I think if you're a top 10 team in the country, you got to go for it. If we were unranked and we were probably within like the 70s range the whole year, I'd probably be like, yeah, I don't know about a national championship this year, but like we have a real shot. And so it'd be disappointing if we didn't win it. But that being said, there are other goals along the way, such as like winning the ODAC tournament championship that would be, spectacular as well. So it's not that our entire season, whether it's like a successful season or not, hinges on did we win the national championship or not, because that'd be a lot of unsuccessful teams every year. But it more so hinges on like, did we give it our all, and did we maximize this team's potential? Because we only get this team one time, this collection of guys. So.
Well, we consider the ODAC the SEC of D3, and we've looked at this, and it's a little top heavy now, 1 through 8, I guess you want to say, but we've kind of analyzed the ODAC, and this is maybe something that you may not want to put your 2 cents worth in, but we consider this thing a deep conference, and we think that you guys deserve 5 teams in this upcoming NCAA tournament. So, according to Gregory's calculations and stuff that he's coming up with, it basically comes down to the quarterfinal game between Guilford and Virginia Wesleyan. Whoever wins that's pretty much going to go to the tournament. So, I mean, is it something you can speak to as far as how many teams deserve to go from this conference?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that the ODAC tournament is more difficult than the NCAA tournament. And like statistically, the numbers back it up for my win-loss record in each of them, So it's like, I think that, as many ODAC teams possible would make the most sense to me. And I think Guilford and, having beaten us, and Virginia Wesleyan having beaten Guilford, and, all those top teams kind of beat up on each other. And it's like, I can't really justify a world where only 2 or 3 ODAC teams get in. It should definitely be 4 or 5. And if I had it my way, it'd be like all of those top 5 teams get in this year. And, there's a lot of teams in the ODAC that could make some serious noise. I think we're definitely the SEC of D3. That's a good way to put it.
Adam, I have a question for you. I mean, this might not be true at all, but last year you played Trine in the national championship. You put up 23 points in a loss. Coming to this season, they have you predicted as a second team All-American. Is there any kind of like, hey, I'm better than second team, I'm first team, and your season right now kind of says you're first team, but was there anything coming to the season where that was in the back of your head? Some disrespect?
It's hard to say, honestly, because it's like an honor, in some ways. It's like, oh man, like whoever makes those lists, clearly, is thinking about, whatever I did last year, but whatever I did last year is last year. And so I came in definitely eager to prove that I'm not just worthy of that award or recognition because of what I did last year, but because of what I'm going to do this year. And uh, yeah, I mean, I guess there's a chip on my shoulder for being second team. I think, I don't know. I don't know the last time I stepped out there and was like, dang, this guy's better than me. So, I mean, but it's not a one-on-one game. So at the end of the day, if I'm not first team All-American, it's not going to make or break me.
Devin
Well,
mentioned
listen,
all the stats you're putting, all the points you're putting up this year. There's one game where you had a block. Do you remember that game? Remember that play?
Um,
you're one block for the year. I can tell you it was against let me think. I mean, I
I believe
got
it
it
was
written
Guilford.
down. It was at
was
Guilford.
it
Yeah.
at Guilford?
It was at Guilford on 1/8/25.
Yeah, I absolutely do not remember that play. I don't even remember. It was probably more like a steal or like a rip through kind of thing. Like when someone goes up, you slap it out of their hands and they count that as a block, which I'll take, but I don't know about that.
Is Kimbrough putting too many minutes on your feet per game? You're third in the conference at 33 minutes a game. Is any problem with that, or you like being on the court that long?
I mean, yeah, I love being on the court as much as I can be, and I think, it's probably what's best for us. But something that's uh it's probably worth noting that, just like having played 5 years and averaging like 30 minutes a game for those 5 years or 4 years or whatever have been, it's taken some toll on my body. But I was talking to Coach Kimber last week. He said there's not a player in the ODAC that's not feeling like you're feeling right now. It's like everyone's beat up at this stage, and um, I feel pretty good. So I feel better than I did probably last year at this time, maybe. But it's not really something I worry about a ton.
Adam, we were actually introduced to you by another coach in the ODAC, and the way it was kind of explained to me, you might or to us, and you might want to help us out with this, but we actually interviewed Coach Palumbo at the beginning of the year, and I think you guys, if I'm not mistaken, you knocked them out of the Final Four in the semis last year. And I thought he said something to the fact that you happened to be, or y'all were staying at the same hotel, and you happened to be lingering around or whatever, and he had to walk you out of the hotel to the bus or something to that effect, and he took you under his arm. But I know you had a relationship before him through Caleb. But at the same time, he said that I think he wound up taking you on a trip. I might be wrong. Is it Dominican, Panama, somewhere down South America to play in a tournament? And he absolutely loves you, man. I know that, and he had nothing but all the respect in the world for you.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of respect and love there with Coach Palumbo. When we were up in Fort Wayne, we were staying at the same hotel, which is just kind of funny, but I guess they do that. They put the two teams here and the two teams in another hotel together. And so I was coming downstairs because our bus was loading up around the same time their bus was, and they had like these lines of Guilford fans just crowding the hallway. And I like rounded the corner and I looked and I was like, I don't know if I'm making that trek right now. I'll probably wait for them to clear out. Then he rounds the corner in his suit, his oversized, stylish suit that he's dedicated to, and he looks good in. And he puts his arm around me and he's like, "They won't boo you if you walk with me." And so I walked with him, and sure enough, nobody said anything, but probably some strange looks. They were like, why is Palumbo got his arm around Brazel and all that? And so we walked through there, and then after the game, we talked a little bit, and uh, we decided that I would go to Barbados with him and four of his players and a couple other players from different schools around the country, and sort of in a way represent the USA and play against some Barbados teams. Um, and it was a really, really fun time playing in this gym. It was like no air conditioning, and these guys are athletic and they're long and they're old, they're grown men, and I got to play with the Proctor brothers and Tyler Dearman and Julius Birch, and so after playing against them so many battles over the years, it was just like the five of us hanging out and talking over that trip and over dinner and in the pool and on the beach about all the times that we've had together, and from each of our perspectives, right? So like from my perspective, like Julius Birch was a generational fouler, like nobody more physical and nobody would foul harder. He would have fit right in with the bad boy Pistons. But from his perspective, he's never harmed a fly. Like it was ridiculous. And so we joked and we got along really well. And Coach Palumbo placed a lot of trust in me on that trip. I think there was one game where I started like 0 for 10, but I think I finished 10 for 20, and he just told me to keep shooting. And the trust he put in me was really telling, and I really appreciated it, because it was just supposed to be a fun trip, but he definitely prioritized winning, and it was a good time.
And last one for me. I know your last game of the season this Saturday is against my alma mater in Eastern Mennonite. So can you just take it a little easy on us, just a little bit, or do the opposite and just put up 100? So just do something crazy that game.
Well, I can't promise either of those things, but EMU's got some talented players. There's no doubt. So we're looking forward to actually, this is against EMU right here, this picture,
Oh
my
well.
sophomore year. But yeah, EMU's a good team. We're gonna have to bring our A game, and hopefully we can get it done on senior day, make it a memorable last regular season game in Kirby.
Adam, I got to ask you about a couple sports other than basketball here for a sec. So your dad works with the PGA Tour a little bit, right? Are
Hmm.
you ever out on the golf course at all?
Yeah, I am. I'm not great. Like I'm among the best golfers on our team, but I mean that doesn't mean that I'm shooting anywhere near par, and
Right.
I definitely should have taken it more serious when I was younger, to where, I think I have a solid swing, but it just doesn't hold up over 18 holes. It's just like it just doesn't hold up. I'll have like a good start usually. First hole is usually shaky, next few are good, and then by the time I get like 8 or 9, I'm like falling apart. And we play golf a lot out here. We usually play Shane Fernald and I against like Nick Shryock because he's our best golfer, and so it'd be like 2v1, see if we can beat him. And Nick somehow always beats us, man. It's ridiculous.
And then in high school, something that people might not know about you, a beast in cross country, right? Personal record of 1801, finished as state runner up. Did you ever get any like offers or anything for cross country at all, or is that something that you considered doing at the next level?
No, definitely not. That was totally something I did to get into like just better shape and just to do something for fun and like test my leadership abilities in a different sport where I maybe don't have the same rapport that I might have in basketball. Like I got to really use my leadership skills as opposed to my basketball skills or my cross country skills. And so, uh, I met like a new group of guys who I didn't usually hang around, and I tried to shed, knowledge to them about what like hard work really is. And so when we would run around the track and guys would cut corners, I'd be yelling at them like, don't cut corners. And then at the very end, we're supposed to be like setting like a very specific pace every time we run around so that when you cross that line, it's like right at a certain time. And I would always speed up at the very end because like that's what it's going to be like in a real race is where you want to like speed up at the end. And the coach would always get mad at me, but I didn't really care. And um, it brought like a certain amount of discipline too. Like running for 20 straight minutes in the 90-degree heat up and down the mountains of North Carolina is just like absolutely brutal. And like I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And so like the mental fortitude you have to just like lock in on that and understand that like, I mean, kind of like that it'll all be over soon, but just to be able to push through and be like, the harder I go, the sooner it'll be over. I think it taught me a lot actually, and I definitely did not get any offers. Never thought about playing, but it was fun to lead that group of guys. And actually, after I graduated, that the cross country team won the state championship the next year, which is cool.
Well, I just want everybody to hear what you just said. Started running cross country for fun and to stay in shape, and finishes as a state runner up. So, I mean,
Devin, what was your
hey,
personal best record?
we won't talk about that.
Adam, I got a couple of questions I want to ask you, and then I'll finish up and let you go. I just, I always try to listen to little things and hear the conversation amongst all the things. And, one of the things that I've heard from you tonight is confidence. No doubt you have confidence. And believe me, we have confidence in you as well. But, you know, things that we look at as accolades, the 2024 Final Four All-Tourney team, the most valuable player of the ODAC tournament 2024, third team All-American, preseason All-American this year. But I also noticed two other things, and that was the All ODAC academic team, the CSC academic All-American. So how far does your academics go in your life, or how far do you portray them leading you in your life?
I mean, they take up a good amount of my time, and they have for the last few years. I think, our division of our program is to be the standard of excellence in Division III basketball. And, over the years, I've tried my best to, be the example or be the SOE. And so you can't be the SOE or the best version of yourself if you're not trying to be the best version of yourself, like in everything you do. And so school is just like what comes along with that. Um, like being on time and prepared for class, like having read everything I need to read and taken, diligent notes. And it means that I'm listening during class. It means that I'm participating during class. You know, Other things that maybe people take for granted or they don't really think about a lot, but like just staying in the class, not going to the bathroom, or like being there every day. That was one of my professors told me that like early my freshman year is like just go to every class, and I think I've gone to almost every class in my 5 years here. So um, academics is definitely something that I value very highly. I think it's you know equivalent, if not more important than the athletic side of like what I do, because we always say it, but the ball stopped bouncing at some point. So you know, I don't know what I'm going to do when it does, but I'll figure it out. And due to the education I've gotten in Hampden-Sydney and at Davidson Day and other places, I think I'll be pretty set.
Well, my last question is this. You're statistically in every category, basically, that the ODAC keeps up with, including number 48 in rebounding at 2.5 rebounds per game. So I want to let you know that. But, stuff like assist to turnover ratio, you're at 2.5. That's number 2 in the conference. We talked about your free throw shooting, 95 out of 110, 87%, basically. And then plus you're number 3 at 18.3 points per game. You've also had 3 player of the weeks this past year. So I really love what the school. I was looking at the schedule for the rest of the year, and Hampden-Sydney has already put up 226 quarterfinals, 3-1 semifinals, 3-2 finals, and then 3-7 Friday NCAA tournament. So I love how the positiveness is out there for the school and everything. But I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. Knowing all of your statistics, everything you've been through this year, who's the player of the year in the ODAC?
Well, I mean, I'll keep it real. I think it should be me. And if it's not me, then it should be Josh McClary or Nick Farrar, uh, or Jabril Robinson's another good one, or Keyshawn Pulley. And so, it's not just this world where like I'll say it's like me and I'm the only right answer, but I think I'm definitely one of the right answers. And um, I think anybody around the ODAC would probably tell you that.
Well, I think that's awesome. I think that says a lot. I think you should have that confidence in yourself. So I believe in you, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. I think you are the player of the year in the conference.
Well, that would be an honor, and I mean that because only two guys in Hampden-Sydney history have ever been ODAC Player of the Year before, and it's T.J. Grimes and Russell Turner. So being in that company would really mean a lot to me.
Well, Adam, we usually like to, and I don't, if you have somewhere to be, by all means, you can go ahead and dip out. But usually we like to end our podcast, our interviews with a little bit of rapid fire, if you got time for it. All right.
Sure, let's do it.
Y'all have class tomorrow, by the way?
I have 8:30. It snowed a
Oh
lot
man,
too.
dang, they didn't even cancel.
Well, hold on. Let me read you this email from my professor real quick. Actually, this is pretty funny.
Somebody's getting in trouble here.
No, no, no. I won't clarify. We will meet tomorrow at 8:30, regardless of weather, power, etc. Even if the power cancels class, we will meet. Even if you have to create snowshoes out of tennis rackets, we will meet.
Is this Coach Kimbrough's class that he teaches on campus?
That's something he would do. That's something he would do.
Well, good luck, man.
That's just your naked and afraid abilities right there.
Yeah, right.
All right, these are the same 10 that we had for Jordan Phillips McCoy last week. So it'll be fun to compare the answers here. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Assist or score?
Score.
Dunk or three ball?
3.
MVP or championship?
Championship.
College or NBA?
Right now, college, usually NBA. I really like watching Duke play. And Steph and the Warriors are not playing very well right now.
Hey,
I
Adam,
gotta get you.
these two guys
Yeah,
are huge UNC fans, so you just put an
gotta
arrow
get
to
you
the
some
heart.
Carolina blue, Adam.
He just broke my heart.
My condolences, lads.
Jordan or LeBron?
Oh man, I've been so back and forth on this lately. I'll go Jordan. I like Jordan more.
There we go. I respect that. Favorite ODAC arena to play in?
Other than Kirby, Randolph-Macon.
Gatorade or Powerade?
Gatorade.
Win at home or win on the road?
Win at home.
Morning practice or night practice?
Night.
And then go to pregame music.
Dude, I don't even actually have any go-to music. Like, I'll listen to something different like every day. But I guess if I had to give you one, I'd say "Family Matters" by Drake.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'd say I was just reading your bio. I thought you were gonna go with maybe some like classical piano music or something, since you're a piano guy.
Oh, I do like piano. I mean, I could go with Justin Bieber if you want me to, but I will stick with Drake for now.
All
Nice.
right, well, y'all heard it here from the man himself, Adam Brazel. Adam, once again, thank you so much for your time and taking the time out of your day and your busy schedule to meet with us this evening, man.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, we want to thank Adam for coming on. So we look forward to hopefully meeting him, next weekend. So we'll be there at Salem for the ODAC tournament there.